Jonathan and Primero into the wall, then just about avoids it. Is history going to repeat itself? Yes, it is. Off the track, into the wall they go. They go down like Skittles. Formula Danny is the winner of the first ever Squad Sprint Series. He is the champion. Hello everyone, and welcome along to round number 9 of the Veloci Esports Squad Sprint. We've arrived in Canada, in the Ile Notre Dame Island on the banks of the St. Lawrence Seaway for what will be another cracking race in this series. I'm Ginger Andy, and joining me in the commentary box for this cracker, we've got Justin Sutton.
Thank you so much, Andy. Really looking forward to this. It's going to be a good one. It is a fan favorite circuit. Last time out at the very wet Italian Grand Prix, it was Gianbolo Quassi who picked up the win, but it is still Hypers leading the way in the championship.
Yep, very, very tight, and it's going to be an interesting race ahead. We're hearing it's going to be dry conditions. It's a tight street track. The barriers, oh so close. We've got the incredible wall of Champions Corner, the tight run into the hairpin, and long, long straights to try and make some overtaking moves. It should be a cracker. Let's have a look then at the starting grid. It's Visa starting on pole with Ryan Littlemore alongside him on that front row. Thibaut Courtois lines up in P3 with Niren alongside in 4th. 5th in the grid, it is Isaac Gillison, and he's joined on that 3rd row with Eternal.
Then it's Erev in 7th position alongside Hayden Gullis in 8th position on the 4th row. Row 5 is Raggy alongside Gianbolo Quassi, the race winner last time out, picking up a lot of points. Then it's Tom Martinez in 11th position alongside the other Tom of Storm.
Yep, 13th of the grid, it's Alex Gillen with JD in 14th. Simon starts in P15 with Veloci James in 16th. 17th on the grid, it is Daniel Beresney, and 18th, it is Hypers. Well then, you may have noticed no Ben in the lineup. We heard he fell asleep and missed the broadcast. Well, that is such a shame, Justin, because he's in a tough position in the championship, trying to fend off the likes of JD, Chem, and Simon as well. So, a shame for Ben missing out on this one.
Yeah, he's doing incredibly well in this championship so far. You have to say it's really surprising. Again, I have to say with the way that Ben has been performing so far in this series, it's been incredible to watch. He's been driver of the day for me personally, several times. A lot of the commenters below as well, letting us know that Ben has been their driver of the day. So yeah, he's been putting in a heck of a performance so far. But unfortunately, he's made the biggest mistake of all this week.
Well, here we go, the 5 red lights coming on. Let's see who can get the driver of the day and the victory as the 5 red lights go out, and we are racing in Canada. Visa moves away from pole. Ryan Littlemore trying to squeeze his way alongside into that tight first corner. Look at Thibaut Courtois trying to go down the inside, but he goes for a spin. That was a mistake. Went in too hot, and round he goes as we go on board with Veloci Isaac in 5th, maybe 6th, going side by side with Raggy. Make that 6th as Raggy goes in very hot into that sequence of corners and finds his way through up into 5th. So it's Isaac 6th with Arava behind in 7th as we keep an eye on Eternal, who's made a good start up into 3rd place. So Ryan leads, Visa 2nd, and Eternal 3rd as Tom gets very close to Veloci Storm, Justin.
It was unfortunate for Thibaut Courtois in that Renault. He was a little greedy, let's say, at the start of that race going for the lead. Oh, we're on board with Tom 97, though, as Gianbolo Quassi goes flying through. Clearly, he is not hanging around. On board with Formula Dandy, the Season 1 champion. He's going to be trying to go around the outside at the hairpin on Tom 97, who is still trying to maintain that top 10 position, but it looks like the Alfa Romeo gets a great exit, but then gets cut off. Very well defended there from Tom 97. On board with Erev, who had an absolutely dismal race last time out at Monza. He's trying to make a move on Veloci Isaac. He's going to have to go the long way around at the outside into the chicane, and it looks like Isaac is going to hang on to that position for the meantime as we come on to start the 2nd lap out of 18.
We sure do, as the Eternal thinks about making a move up the inside on Ryan. Can't quite make it work, very late on the brakes. Almost Thibaut Courtois-esque in that case, but he just about gets it under control as there's all sorts of bumping going on just in front of us as we pick up James Baldwin, the world's fastest gamer, going up against the Real Madrid goalkeeper, and it looks like the gamer's out on top. Oh, big drama, round goes Niren, and that's damage on the front wing, severe damage for Thibaut Courtois, and he picks up surely an unfair 5-second penalty, and we've got a virtual safety car, and that will slow everyone down, and that is hardly a surprise on this racetrack. Let's take a little look at the replay from the start. This is Alex Gillen, who is in a bit of a championship battle with Tom at the minute, and here we go into the first corner. Very, very tight. There's Courtois spinning. He got it wrong, and Alex and Tom, the two title rivals, or not title rivals, but championship rivals, going for the outside, and Alex getting squeezed out there, Justin. And yeah, very, very tight stuff around this track.
Impressive stuff, I have to say, that these guys didn't have more accidents as we go on board with Hayden Gullis. Oh, and he had a front row seat for that incident, actually, at the exit of turn 4, and managed to scythe his way through it and avoid any major issues. VSC is ending, and Tom 97 already onto the back and alongside the Ferrari of Arab into the hairpin. He can't quite make that work. Arab defends that very well. Alex Gillen now right behind. Again, this is a battle for position in the championship between these two. Tom 97, though, no DRS, obviously. It's only lap number 2 with the use of some ERS. You can see, actually, Arab there was saving a bit of fuel, so he really wasn't interested in defending that position from Tom. He's going to let the Mercedes go through. He gets a 3-second, a very well-deserved 3-second time penalty for corner cutting. Let's be honest. I mean, if you're going to cut the corner, and that's exactly what Arab did. But here goes Tom 97 around the outside at turn 2. That is impressive stuff from the Mercedes driver. He can't quite make it work, Arab, but up the inside he goes into the heavy braking zone into turn 3. They're still side by side. Araba maintains the position, and this is a heck of a battle we've got going on here.
I'm laughing. There's absolutely no doubt about it. There is going to be rage in the comments of that Arab corner cut, undoubtedly. Come on, folks, I want to hear what you thought of that one. I think you already know before the video's even uploaded what you guys are going to think of that one as we go on board then with Raggy in that cockpit camera, and then back to his teammate Tom, who is now behind Simon. So Simon has found a way through, and TRL Limitless is not too far behind either as Simon tries to sweep round the outside of Araba. He goes far too deep into the corner. That should give him, though, the perfect exit, and he'll catapult out of there and then head down past the lake, which sits on the left-hand side, and they're going to go side by side. Tom fighting as Araba and Simon go side by side, and Simon flies through before the breaking point, gets the move done before the
See if Marduk joined.
Oh, went way through. What? Come on, Ben. What are you playing at? Come on. As the round goes, one of the racing points. Who's that? Eterno going for a spin. It's all happening here. We've got drivers joining mid-session and others spinning and sliding all over the racetrack, Justin. This is mental.
I'm not sure why Ben joined. Oh, that's a huge incident for Eterno Joe and Tom 97. They've come together. That's at turn 3 in that chicane, and that is going to deploy an actual safety car. We've already had the virtual safety car one time in this race, but now the safety car is being deployed. Let's have a little replay here. This is on board with Eterno Joe, who was leading the race at one point, and then some contact, I think, with the McLaren of Visa sent him sliding at turn 1 at the entrance of turn 2. That's what allowed Simon and Arab to come through, and then you can see Tom 97 on the right-hand side, the Mercedes pulling alongside the Racing Point. They're going to be side by side into the corner, and then losing the back end, and then losing the front left wheel altogether. That's unfortunate for Eterno Joe.
I don't like using the word racing pointless over and over again, Justin, but when you fling 25 points in the gutter like that, I mean, I'm going to have to use it. Goodness me, what an absolute shambles that is. As the safety car is out, everyone coming in for their one mandatory pit stop. Of course, in this new season of Squad Sprint, everyone has to stop because, of course, we're up to 25% distance. So several cars coming in, McLaren's, Ferrari's in front, and now Hayden Gullis in the other, the sole remaining Racing Point, comes in, puts on a set of soft compound tyres, and he's expecting them to go 13 laps, Justin. That seems like a long time, as Ciambo Likbasi takes the lead from Formula Danny under the safety car conditions.
That's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. Now, obviously, he's going to spend some of those laps under the safety car and not pushing those tires or anything like that, as Simon is trying to slot in, it looks like, between Hypers and Arab, and he does indeed slot in between those two. So we've got a third Mercedes out on track. The two Formula 1 cars still running of Raggy and Tom 97. Tom has been dropping, though, but he is on the hard compound tires. You can see all the tires that everybody is on the left-hand side. Anybody that says 0 laps means that they just fitted that set of tires, and that should take them to the end rather easily if it is a set of hards. I think the mediums as well, again, Andy, because we're under the safety car and cars are going rather slowly, I think the mediums will have a pretty easy time of making it to the end as well. The softs, though, as you pointed out, going to the end, doing 13 laps on a set of soft tires does not sound like a lot of fun. And there is the confirmation from Race Control. Safety car is in this lap.
So safety car in at the end of lap 6. That means 12 laps of punishing time on those soft tyres. You would fancy those on the mediums then, wouldn't you? Formula Danny, 4 laps so far on the mediums out of 6. So I presume he's come in very, very early to avoid the traffic, gone on to those medium tyres. So you've got to say he's in a fantastic position here, especially come the end of the race. Chen might pull away early doors, but you surely fancy Formula Danny to come straight back at him towards the end of the race as Isaac gets a 5-second penalty under safety car for clipping Formula Danny, which is a bit of a shame. But he's really bunching them up here, is Chem Bolek-Bassi, as they come round the final corner, and we are about to go racing again. Can Chem go back-to-back after that Italian Grand Prix win? Of course, on a wheel now, so he's a lot quicker, as we saw last time out in Italy, as Simon goes right round the outside of Hypers. That was muggery into turn 1, and through he goes up a place as we pick up Hayden Gullis, trying to double his points tally for the day from 1 point to 2, and he's done it. He's passed Visa with ease and up into 9th place. So good move there from Hayden as we pick up Alex Gillen, keen to gain a place on Visa and climb into the points. Can he do it down the inside? Yes, he can. Tidy stuff. Through he goes. Get the textbook out, because that was textbook stuff.
Lovely stuff from Alex Gillen. Not the easiest place to overtake, but certainly opportunities present themselves at turn 6 there. Erev getting a little bit of a bump from behind from Raggy and the Mercedes as they make their way into that 8-9 chicane. He does seem to be a little bit quicker. It seems that Erev, one of those drivers that's gone on to the hard tires, so he's certainly going to be struggling early on. Is Limitless in the Alfa Romeo, goes around the outside of Raggy at that hairpin. It looks like he's going to get Erev as well, and it's going to be 2 for the price of 1 for TRL Limitless in that Alfa Romeo, but he's still side by side with the Ferrari of Erev. I wonder if he's using some ERS, some fuel here. Raggy's going to pull alongside. He got the benefit of the slipstream off of Erev. He's much later on the brakes as well. He's going to corner cut a little bit there on Erev, but that's probably deserved. Here comes Hayden, though, with a great exit out of the chicane. He's going to be side by side with the Ferrari into the braking zone for turn 1, inside line for the Racing Point. He's late enough on the brakes as well, making good use of the soft compound tires, and he's up into 8th position. I have to say, that is a classy move from Hayden Gullis.
Oh, some great racing in there, wasn't there? Just a shame that Raggy corner cut to pass Arava, but I mean, it was tasting his own medicine there for Arava, wasn't it? But what he did to Tom earlier on. But all round, great stuff. JD as well, 2 for the price of 1, as you said, Justin. Great racing from him too, as we pick up Formula Danny. And as we suspected a few moments ago, Chem Bolek-Bassi is pulling away at the moment as Tom 97 goes down the inside on Thibaut Courtois and makes it stick. So he goes up into 11th place, Thibaut down a place to 12th. But Tom, interestingly, on the soft tyres, how long can he go? Can he go all the way to the finish without puncturing those tyres, or in a competitive state? That remains to be seen. Next up on his radar is Arif, as we go to Hayden Gullis chasing down Raggy, and there has been a big rivalry, hasn't there, Justin?
Yes.
Between these two throughout the season. We've heard the team radio on a number of occasions, and it's not been pretty. I had Hayden joining me in the commentary box for Italy, and Raggy was slagging him off mid-commentary on the team radio as Hypers goes down the inside of Isaac. That was a lovely move, that, through and up into 4th place. You know, I'd love to get Raggy in the commentary box one time to hear what he thinks of Hayden. That'd be funny to hear. We've got to balance it out as Arava comes in for what looks like a brand new nose cone, and away he goes in 16th place. Well, with Ben not in the race today and Arava having a shocker, it looks like it's going to be a sore day for Ferrari, Justin, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's not going to be very many points, if any points, honestly, because it has been a difficult day for Erev. And as I mentioned previously, he had a really tough time out at Monza last time for round number 8. For those of you that missed it, that was in wet conditions, and it ended in tears for Erev. Stop there if you don't want any spoilers. If you want to go back and watch that, but yeah, it did. It was a tough day for Erev, no doubt about it. As we mentioned, Tiamat Marduk only a spectator for today's race. Again, I have to say though, I really do admire him joining the session with 4 laps down already. Bit of a strange one, but good to see him supporting the rest of the drivers out here today. Maybe he's providing some replay cameras for us. Who knows? Back on board, though, with Hayden Gullis, it looked earlier on like he was happy to sit behind Raggy. I noticed that he was saving a bit of fuel, saving a bit of ERS. That seems to be the case for him right now. He is just overall faster than the Mercedes ahead because of those soft compound tires. Alex Gillen behind in the Red Bull is on the mediums at the moment. Those should easily take him to the end of the race. This could potentially be a good race for Alex Gillen, actually. I think he's on the right strategy, which is going onto the medium compound tires during that safety car period. And he's got a couple of drivers ahead of him that I certainly think he's capable of overtaking. He's got a Mercedes behind and a Racing Point and Mercedes up ahead as well. So I'm expecting some overtaking to start to happen, especially if Hayden doesn't get a move on here and overtake Raggy. I expect Alex Gillen will start to feel that pressure from the Mercedes behind, and he'll start to put the pressure onto the Racing Point ahead of him of Hayden. So I think this is probably his last chance for Hayden. If Hayden doesn't get past Raggy here, I think Alex is going to become a little bit fed up and he's going to put the moves on Hayden.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Justin, because Hayden's on the soft tyre. They're going to be quicker at this stage. They won't be at the end, so Hayden needs to build the gap up, and he's gone for it. He's pulled out late from behind Raggy, and Raggy won't be happy with that. Hayden Gullis gets one over on his rival in this season. Can Raggy fight back? I don't think he can, because Hayden is getting a double dose of that DRS, and he is through and up into 7th place. And now Raggy surely is going to have to switch his attentions to Alex Gillen behind, who's on the same strategy. So can Alex Gillen, who's had a strong season so far, he is no slouch. We've touched on it before. He's raced at the top in AOR leagues before, and he's going to try and show us again what he's capable of. He's going down the inside of Raggy at the end of that first sector. He's got the elbows out, and he's got 8th place. Great stuff there from Alex Gillen, as now the two Mercedes are going to go dueling. Raggy dropped into the clutches of his teammate Tom, and look at that, having a look up the inside there was Raggy, couldn't quite do it, and Tom is now surely going to have a go at Raggy, because as we've already mentioned, Tom and Alex are very close in the championship. It would be wise for the Mercedes to move out the way of Raggy, and is that exactly what he's doing? Perhaps it is. Whether it's intentional or not, I'm not too sure. So back goes Raggy down to 10th place, up goes Tom into 9th. Can he hunt down Alex Gillen? If he can, it's going to be a tall order, because he's on those softs, and pretty soon they'll be wearing out, Justin.
Oh, Veloce Hyper is picking up a 3-second time penalty. I'm not sure if that's his first. All the back end stepping out on the Racing Point of Hayden Gullis. Here goes the DRS on the Red Bull up the inside into turn 1 for Alex Gillen. Later on the brakes, cuts him off at the exit as well. And that's another textbook move. I have to say, I've been seeing a number of moves, and we even saw a textbook maneuver from Hayden Gullis. A couple of them, I think, in fact. So seeing some really high quality overtakes from these guys. Back on board with Tom 97, who's running right behind Hayden Gullis. Doesn't fancy an overtake into turn 6. He's found the inside line. He's got to make sure not to run into the back of that Red Bull of Alex Gillen. He does so indeed, and he moves himself ahead of the Racing Point, and looking pretty strong for Tom 97. Moves himself ahead of Hayden and his teammate, and he's now right onto the back of Alex Gillen. And again, he is on those softer compound tires, so if he is going to make a move on Alex Gillen, I'd expect it to be soon here, Andy.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great to see that, Alex gets through and then Tom follows through. He's keeping that pressure on. He's determined to stick with him and try and claw some points back on his rival. Great to see Raggy and Hayden so close too. So all these championship battles, they're so close in the championship and they're so close in the race order. That's exactly what we like to see. And with only 3 and whatever's left of this one, so 4 in total if you include this, races left to go, it really is every point counts, as we pick up Formula Danny, who unusually finds himself being reeled in by CRG Simon on the softs. So at the moment, the softs still appear to be the tyre to be on, as Chembalik Bassi is still pulling away out front, looking to go back to back and winning 2 races in a row. Can he do it? As we pick up Tom, and he's right behind Alex Gillen. Is this the moment? They're so close in the championship. Can he go round the outside of Alex? No, he can't. That was asking an awful lot, and Alex is wise to that one, and he maintains 7th place as we lose Ryan Littlemore from this race. He was running 11th. He's now dropping down for the field. He's out of this. There will be no points for him as we stick with Tom stuck behind Alex Gillen, who has been unable to find a way through on Veloci Isaac in front of that, and he's going to try and do it now though. Down the inside into the hairpin. The fans are on their feet down there. There's always great action to be seen, but coming straight back underneath and through goes the Williams as we now go down the long straight on lap 13 out of 18, running down towards the chicane where the wall of champions sits. Round the outside goes Alex Gillen. Has he got the overspeed? Yes, he has. Tom might do as well. He does, and he follows through, and it continues on for another lap. Still Alex Gillen cannot shake off Tom. Tom now fancies a move round the outside into the first corner. That would be brave. Alex is wise to it, and he covers the inside beautifully, Justin.
Runs a bit wide at the exit of 2, but there's not going to be enough of a run down towards 3 for Tom 97 to do anything about that. Interestingly, Hayden Gullis is still right in this battle. Despite being overtaken by Tom 97, he is still in this, very much so. Isaac has been overtaken by Hayden Gullis as well in that Racing Point, so he's dropped down now into 9th position. It's really a shame about Ryan Littlemore, though. He was running just outside of the points, and if any of these guys come together, that would have given him only his second points finish of the season. So it's really unfortunate to see him retiring at the late stage like he did. We're back on board with Raggy. You can always tell when we're on board with Raggy because, of course, he's got that cockpit view. Isaac feels the need to defend the inside line into the hairpin. The Mercedes looking to go around the outside, cuts back to the inside, gets a great exit, much better exit compared to Isaac, looking to go to the right-hand side, pushing him into the grass as well. Side by side, DRS open now for the Mercedes, but the Williams pick up the DRS, Isaac picking up the DRS off of those cars up ahead as well. Let's see if he can be late enough on the brakes. No, it looks like Isaac is going to maintain that position. A big corner cut for him, though. Runs a little bit wide. Raggy can't find a way past. Back on board with the other Mercedes of Tom 97. Can he get close enough to Alex Gillen? Not quite. Alex maintains that 6th place position for the meantime, and I think this is about as good as these guys can do. We just started lap 15. So after this lap, there's only going to be 3 more remaining. You can see a pretty sizable gap up the road ahead of Alex. Oh, heavy contact with the barrier, and that's an open invitation for Tom 97, who moves himself up into 6th position.
Yeah, big move in the battle for the championship between these two as Tom now gets a big moment. I'm very surprised Alex hasn't damaged the suspension there because that was quite a hefty smack against the barrier. So Tom threw up into 6th, Alex Gillen down to 7th, but the top 5, as you'd expect, are very, very quick drivers. The top 4, all esport, GD former esport driver as well. So, you know, the top 5, as you'd expect, and as you mentioned, Justin, this is about as good as it can get for these guys. We're interested to hear, folks, who your driver of the day is because, you know, it's quite an open contest, this one. Ben has so often outperformed what you'd expect from him, and he has been driver of the day, but he slept in today. So, Anova, huge moment,
no.
and he's off, and he's into the wall.
No.
And for the second successive race, the right-hand tyre is folded up over the chassis of the Ferrari. This time it's not thanks to Storm, it's thanks to his own mistake. And off he goes and into the barrier. What did you make of that one, Justin?
That's unfortunate, and yeah, yet another race for Ferrari ending with a car with only 3 wheels on. So yeah, they're going to be pretty disappointed about that, one would assume. Back on board with the battle for the lead of this race, and it has come down pretty significantly. Only 2 laps to go in this race. We're on lap number 16, coming up to 17 pretty quickly here. Oh, the Arab's car is in the middle of the road. Jem does a great job to avoid him. Formula Danny does as well. I think a little bit of a lift for both of these guys, but look at the way Danny has closed up to the back. The last time we checked in on these guys, it was just under 2 seconds the gap for the lead of this race. Formula Danny has closed that down significantly. He's picking up the DRS, picking up the slipstream here. He's not going to make the overtake here, but he might be setting him up for an overtake into turn 1.
He might well be, and CRG Simon is there ready to pounce if there's any mistakes or any contact between those two. So we're now moving on to the penultimate lap of this Canadian Grand Prix in round number 9 of the squad sprint. Formula Danny needs a big result here as they push in the race for the championship. He and Hyper's so closely matched. Hyper's having an okay race in P4. He's so often on the podium, but there's a real chance for Danny to really hit home here in the championship battle if he can get ahead of Chem. As we spotted earlier on in this race, Chem on the softs was pulling away, but now those soft tyres are gone by their sell-by date, and now Formula Danny is right there. But to be fair to Simon, he's clinging on in there as well, just staying in the tow, waiting to pounce. So it's at the minute it's Chem from the Hungarian of Formula Danny and CRG Simon as they make their way down towards the braking zone for that hairpin. Is Simon having a look? Sorry, is Danny having a look? No, not quite. He goes a little bit deeper into the corner, does Danny. That will give him a better slingshot out of it then as they make their way down the long back straight towards the final chicane. Is Formula Danny going to make his move and take the lead away? It looks like it. DRS open, ERS in high, and look at Simon as well. Surely he's not going to follow through too. He has, you know. Brilliant stuff from Simon. Look at Chem coming back on the exit. He gets a 3-second time penalty for cutting the corner. He gets himself ahead, but surely it won't last with the penalty. Simon though, trying to do it on the track, can't do it, and Chem holds on for the minute. Justin, great stuff.
Impressive. And also in the background there, just coming into the shot on the start-finish straight was Limitless versus Hypers. That's a battle that's going on at the moment as well for 4th position. Alex Gillen coming under attack from Hayden Gullis, who tries to go around the outside much later on the brakes, using those soft tires. Back end stepping out on the racing point, but he does manage to hold on to it, keep everything pointing in the right direction. Raggy right behind as well. Are we going to see some more incidents, some more collisions between that pairing? I do wonder. At the moment, it does seem like Alex Gillen is holding them up. He's really struggling on those medium compound tires. Weirdly enough, Tom 97 building a pretty significant gap, almost 4 seconds. You can see Raggy just making contact with the back end of that Racing Point through turn 6. It really does seem here to me, Andy, that Alex is the slowest driver out of these 3 currently, and I can't even believe I'm saying that. He is a very quick driver, but currently Hayden looking very quick, as is Raggy as well. It just seems like these tires haven't worked out for Alex.
Yeah, they haven't worked out at all. Maybe he's got some front wing damage from when he smacked the wall earlier in the Grand Prix. We'll have to wait and see. As up to the line comes Formula Danny, and he takes the victory on lap 18 out of 18. He wins from CRG Simon and Chem Bolek-Bassi, but this is what we all want to see. Hayden versus Alex, and Hayden's got some serious closing speed. He's found a route down the inside. Can he outbrake the Red Bull? Yes, he can. Awesome stuff. No!
Oh, no!
He's in the wall, and he and Raggy have come together yet again. Unbelievable. And it's now a drag race between them. Look at the Haas car coming along, but in the end, it's going to be Hayden on penalties with James 9th and Raggy in 10th. Wow, that was absolute mayhem at the end of that one. Let's have a look then at the final confirmed race results. It is Formula Danny, Daniel Beresney, who takes the 25 points and the victory. Simon Weigang in second, got the fastest lap and gets 19 points for his efforts. Chem Bolek-Bassi couldn't quite make it. 2 wins from 2. He comes home in third in the end, with James Doherty coming home ahead of Hypers in 4th. So Hypers, of course, he was 5th, with Tom coming home in 6th. He gets ahead of Alex Gillen, who was 7th. That's crucial in their battle. Hayden Gullis, a solid result to finish 8th. It could have been that little bit more if it wasn't for the contact. James Baldwin, he comes home in 9th. Good recovery in the end after that wing damage at the start. And in the end, it was Raggy that picked up the final point in 10th. Let's have a look at the second page then of the results. It was Isaac Gillison that came home in 11th. Thibaut Courtois, too hot into the first corner on the first lap. It cost him dear. There was no run at the front for him. He finished in 12th. Tom Storm Lartelo came home in 13th in the second Haas, with Niren coming home in 14th. Liam Vizza came home 15th. He was the last of the finishers. Annabelle, we saw him in the wall. We lost Ryan Littlemore as well. Joe Wilkes, Camel, and Benjamin Daly. Well, he didn't start. He was falling asleep. So, yeah, he failed to make the start. He made it midway through, Justin, but that was a little bit too late, wasn't it?
He was sleeping like a koala. I bet it was adorable. Moving on to the Drivers' Championship, it is Formula Danny who takes the lead after picking up his 4th victory of the season. He's now 5 points ahead of Hypers after round number 9. Remember, there's only 3 races to go in this championship. James Baldwin, after only picking up a couple of points, falls down. He's still in 3rd position, but he is now 37 points behind Hypers, which is 42 points behind Formula Danny. Weirdly, Simon picked up only his 2nd podium of the season in Canada, but he does sit in 4th position on 78 points and ahead of the very sleepy, very tired Benjamin Daly, who now sits in 5th position on 68 points. That's 14 points ahead of TRL Limitless, who maybe didn't get enough screen time as he deserved today, finishing in a solid 4th position and doing very well out there. Then comes Chem Bolek-Bassi, who's now level on points with Alex Gillen after picking up a podium the race straight after his race win. So Chem Bolek-Bassi really climbing up the field. Then comes Tom Martinez, Tom 97. He's just a couple of points behind, so he clawed that gap down between himself and Alex Gillen, although unfortunately he was overtaken by Chem Bolek-Bassi. Then comes Storm, about 11 points back. Then comes Raggy, Hayden Gullis, Camille Pawlowski in 14th position, level on 10 points with Eterno Joe and Arab, so it is very, very close between all of them. Isaac Gillison in 17th position, currently sitting on 6 championship points. Then comes Niren, he's got 5 championship points. Thibaut Courtois, unfortunate race today. I was really rooting for him out there. Same as Ryan Littlemore, unfortunately didn't have the race that he would have wanted to have, and Vizza still pointless after the first 9 rounds.
Yeah, I mean, look at those standings. It really does show how well Racing Point did in the opening race of the season. Since then, the points have really dried up for them. Let's have a look at the constructor standings then. It's Alfa Romeo with a commanding lead now. 216 points after a 1st and 4th today. They've had a huge lead over Toro Rosso on 158 in 2nd. 10 points further back behind them is Haas with 148. Sore day for them. Only 2 World Championship points. So Toro Rosso leapfrogged them after that race today, I believe. Renault 4th in the standings. standings on 129, with Red Bull now 5th on 82. A strong showing from them today, lifting them ahead of the pointless Ferrari, one driver sleeping the other in the barrier. 7th place in the standings, we've got Mercedes on 59. Then, of course, as I briefly touched on, Racing Point riding on those 18 points in the opening round of the season. They've only managed to pick up a further 8 since then, quite incredibly, on 26. Williams are next in 9th with 16 points, and McLaren at the bottom on 5. So that rounds it off then, Justin. It was another great race, plenty of good action on the racetrack, plenty to keep us excited. But the big question is, who's your driver of the day today?
You know, I think I gotta give it to Tom 97. I think I gotta give it to Tom 97. He was best of the rest in terms of non-esports drivers, and he even beat one esports driver. He was ahead of James Baldwin, who admittedly had a difficult race out there. But you know, I think I gotta give it to Tom 97, Tom Martinez this week. He drove really well. He picked up 8 championship points. He was, you know, best of the rest, the top 5 kind of untouchable. But finishing ahead of Alex Gillen, James Baldwin, Raggy, all of those guys, and with a pretty sizable gap at the end too. So Tom 97, my driver of the day.
It's a good shout. It's a good shout. I think it's a fair shout. But you know what? I actually think Mr. Hayden Gullis put in a good performance today. He and Ben put in a good, Raggy put in a good performance today. And I just felt that...
Good overtakes.
Yeah, exactly. And I felt that Hayden, without the contact at the end, maybe would have gone ahead of Alex, which isn't something we've seen very often this season.
No.
So you know what?
No.
I'm gonna disagree with you this time and say Hayden deserves a shout for driver of the day. But you know what? I think this is the most open driver of the day battle we've had for quite a while, Justin. So I'm interested to see what everyone in the comments thinks. So, as I say, get your comments in, folks. We're interested to hear who was your driver of the day. And just like last week, there was plenty of good overtakes out there. Which one was your favourite? But that rounds it off. The Canadian Grand Prix is over. 9 rounds down, just 3 to go. It's getting very close. At the top of the championship, in the middle as well. There's battles everywhere you look. Be sure to join us next week at the same time for the Veloci Esports Squad Sprout. Round 10 is coming up next. See you later. As the 5 red lights go out and we are racing in Canada.
Goes Tom 97 around the outside at turn 2.
He gets up to the line, comes Formula Danny, and he takes the victory.